Welcome back to Lindsay Otten, who comes to us every now and then to talk all things video. She's a video trainer here at Impact with a long history of working in the industry and with clients to help them use video in marketing, in sales, on their website, etc. And Lindsay, last time you were here, we were talking all about video on our website. And I want to zoom out kind of today and start at the very, very top of the funnel. So this is a point where video is very important, but I think it's also very easy to kind of get it wrong. So I want you to start off, just talk us through the buyer's mindset at that very, very early stage when they're just maybe barely problem aware.
Yeah. So someone who is at the very top of the funnel, very beginning of their buyer's journey, they probably don't know who you are yet. That's something to keep in mind as you're making a video. Is the person who is at this phase may not know who you are, and if they don't know who you are, they don't have any trust built with you yet. So there's two things you need to overcome there: is they don't know who you are, that you haven't built any trust with them yet. And the third thing that you need to keep in mind is that they may not be aware that your the product you sell or the service you provide is a solution that they are looking for. And so at the very beginning of that phase, those are the three things you need to overcome. They don't know who you are yet, therefore there's no trust built. And then they might not even recognize that you could help them solve the problem that they are searching for. So those are the things to keep in mind for that buyer's mindset of, when we're talking about someone who is that top of your funnel.
And it goes without saying, and it feels obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. Your buyers or your potential buyers are going to know you long before you know them. There are a lot of steps that they're going to take before they ever follow you on social media, fill out a form on your website. So there are a lot of steps where, as you said, Lindsay, it's important to build trust, to help educate them very early on. And you're not going to be able to track a lot of that data specifically tied to unique contacts. You're going to be able to track views and retention rate and things like that. But there's a sort of a period where they have to go through building a relationship with you that you can't track.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about this exact thing, and it made me think of a situation I was in last year around this time. I just got married last year around this time, and one of the things that I realized I could have a problem with that I didn't necessarily plan for was how to preserve my flowers. Like, you go as a bride, you go through this whole process of, oh, what do I want my flowers to look like? And then I have to present all the quotes to my husband, who then says, why are flowers so expensive? We're only going to use
so expensive.
Flower. And then the day comes, and then you have the question of, well, what do I do with these flowers? And so then you start Googling, how do I preserve wedding flowers? And of course, there are the traditional methods of, let's hang the bouquet upside down in a dark closet and dry it out. And then I actually discovered a bunch of solutions I didn't know existed just by Googling that one thing. And what I ended up finding, I didn't even know existed before that. And so now I have these beautiful, they're blocks and coasters of resin where my flowers have been preserved. I didn't know that existed before then. And so now I tell all of my friends who are getting married, you need to use this company because you're going to want to save your flowers, and don't do what I did and hang them upside down for a week and let them brown. You need to send them while they're fresh, which I didn't know you could even do. So that's a perfect example right there of, I had a problem. I knew of a solution that's traditionally a solution, but I found a new solution that got me really excited. And now I'm a huge fan of this company, and I'm recommending them to everyone I know who's getting married.
That's fantastic. So let's dive into that a little bit. What was it that you found that, first of all, allowed you to move forward, allowed you to, you came with a problem. Like you said, you Googled a problem, you had an idea of what you wanted to solve, you didn't know how you were going to solve it, you found a company, and now you've become, an ambassador for that brand. So what was it about their content, video or otherwise, or their website or anything, that allowed you to build that trusting relationship and take those steps forward.
Yeah. So the first, I'll walk you through my buyer journey with this whole thing. So the first thing I Googled is preserving wedding flowers. And so it walks you through the different types of how to preserve these things. And then the next question becomes, okay, I know I want to save them. So now I moved out of awareness into consideration. I know I want to save them. I have ideas on how I could solve this problem. Now with what I've already done, what can I do to like actually get use out of them? Because I remember when I was in high school, you have your little corsage and you dry that out and it sat on my nightstand for years. I didn't want that to be the case with my wedding flowers. I wanted them to be something that we could display. And so I'm not a designer. I don't know how to display things. And so once I had these drying flowers, I needed to know like, well, okay, they're being preserved in a way that I know how. How am I going to display them? And then I found content around resin dipping. And so it's like, oh, I could pay someone to do this for me because I'm not going to do it myself. I'm not crafty like that. And so my next step was I went to find someone on Etsy. Just put that in the Etsy search bar, came up with a few vendors. They didn't accept already dried flowers. They only accepted fresh flowers. And mine were hanging in my guest room closet upside down with a bungee cord, just drying out. And so the next step after that was, okay, if I want this done, I need to find a service that does this for flowers that have already started the drying process. And so I Googled that, found this company called Blossom and Rhyme, who they accept both. They accept flowers that are already dried and they accept flowers that are fresh. And so when I got to their website, they had a guide that I could download of how to dry your flowers properly before sending them to us. And they had 3 different types of drying methods. Thankfully, I had already started one. And so from what I already started, I could say, okay, I know I need to like wait this many weeks before I send it to them. And then it instructed me on how to pack them. And once I did sign up for the service, I got, I have to look exactly what I got in the email, but I got another downloadable for how to pack. And I got a video of like the process of drying the flowers. So already I was like, I trust this company. It seems like they know what they're doing. I really like their packages. And yes, it's expensive, but I already paid a lot for these flowers and I want to display them. So that was the process. It was a process of, all right, I have a problem. I've found solutions. I'm narrowing down my solutions. I have found the right company that fits the solution that I want, and I'm excited about using it.
Perfect. Like it feels really linear. Every step is accounted for, and they meet you where you are, and they walk you through the steps that are going to get you to their front door, essentially. So let's like flip that a little bit, Lindsay, and talk about how businesses can get this wrong. You know, that the wrong video, either it's the wrong type of video or it's just the wrong type of video for someone at that stage of the buyer's journey. How could the wrong video at the top of the funnel actually do more harm than good?
Yeah. I'll be honest, if I found Blossom and Rhyme at the very beginning of this whole journey and saw the price of dipping these flowers in resin, I probably would have been scared away and looked for different solutions. And so if I'd found one of their videos and it was just a sales pitch from the beginning, I probably would have said, I could find a cheaper solution than this. And then gone down a rabbit hole and maybe I've gotten back to them, but probably not. I had to go through a process of evaluating everything before I could decide to spend that much money, like that amount of money on dried flowers. So it definitely was it could have been a wrong place, wrong time if I had stumbled upon it right away and it felt like a sales pitch. I needed to go through and do that research and process for myself, like what this is actually going to take. So if we're going to talk about how companies can get it wrong, if someone's just getting to know the solution and you're throwing a sales pitch in their face right away, that's going to be off-putting to them. Like, oh, you don't actually really care about this. You are just trying to sell me something. And people can smell that a mile away. So the way you can get this wrong right away is sales pitch. The other way you can get it wrong is being misleading, and misleading in a way where if you solve one problem and you're really good at that, but you think you could solve a different problem, someone can probably find a better solution than the problem that you think that you solve for them. So you need to be very clear about what it is you actually can do for someone. And if it's not clear, someone's going to go and find someone who's more clear than you. So those are the two big mistakes I think you can make in that awareness phase: pitching them too early, and then also being misleading with what your actual capabilities are to solve the problem that they're looking for, or they're looking to solve.
Yeah, totally agree. The other thing I was thinking is the early stages of the buyer's journey. This is the place for an elevator pitch. This is a place for something that can briefly explain what you do. They can always find more information, but I think especially in the SaaS world, there can be a tendency to just kind of feature dump. And I'm going to like talk through everything our product does, which has its time and place, but not at the top of the funnel when people are just, as you said, evaluating option A, option B, option C, and just trying to get a sense of the landscape that they're entering in.
Perfect.
Okay, so with all that said, where do people find top of the funnel video content? I think YouTube feels like an obvious one, but I don't think that's the end of the list.
Yeah. YouTube, social media. I find a lot of video content on Instagram, for example. Again, this is a me thing, but when I first moved to where I live now in Melbourne, I have what's called an undercut. So I shaved the back of my head, and you'd be surprised how many people, how many hairstylists don't actually feature undercuts on their Instagram page. And so I needed a hairstylist who fit that, because I went to one previous who didn't, and she got spooked by my undercut. So I used Instagram to solve the problem of finding a stylist who does undercuts. And I've been seeing her for over 5 years now. Same person, still does the same thing for me. And so Instagram, I would imagine people find things on TikTok as well, educational content. I know TikTok is a huge place for educational content. And so YouTube, yes. Don't exclude any other social medias. If you're in the home improvement space as well, Pinterest is also a place where people look for solutions to problems. I know I check Pinterest daily because we love doing things in our house, and I like using Pinterest as a vision board for that. So what you really should do is check the demographics of each platform. If you know that your demographic is business owners in their 50s and 60s, then maybe Instagram isn't the right place for your video. Maybe LinkedIn is. And so you need to do your research on, okay, if my people are these people, what platforms do they frequent? And start putting your content there.
Yeah. And talk to your customers. How did customers find you? And those can be your sort of workhorse channels that get you in front of the people most likely to buy. And I think it's important to note, and that on these platforms, sometimes you find content, and sometimes the content finds you. That's what an algorithm is. And so you could picture going into YouTube, you can search for something, but then there's also a feed. There's also shorts, where content based on videos you've watched in the past, things that you've liked, company pages you follow, creators you follow, etc., is going to be curated for you. And we talked the last time that you and I were on this program about that weird experience that many of us have had being on social media, finding something we didn't even know we needed or didn't even know existed for a problem we didn't even know we had, and buying it right then. And so, win for the algorithm when they serve up something so perfectly and make buying so easy that you could just like skip to the front of the buyer's journey line and make a purchase.
Yeah, we're really spoiled as buyers when you think about it. If we don't have to look that far to find a solution. And like you said, sometimes it finds us.
100%. So as we all know, we want to make it easy to buy from us. We want to make it easy for our customers to find the information they need so that they feel well informed, so that they can move forward when they're ready. So Lindsay, I want you to wrap up. I would love to hear the advice that you give to videographers, because you work with them in a lot of different industries. And part of their job is reaching people who might not be actively searching for what they're selling. And that feels that's a unique, I think we have to actually focus, like, that's a hard problem. It's not like people are Googling, I need a new roof. Like, that's definitely clearly someone who is showing buying intent and really wants what you sell, if you sell roofs. But this is different. This is people who are maybe barely problem aware, and as you said, might be evaluating a bunch of solutions at once. How do you make videos for those people?
Yeah. First step is you need to map your buyer's journey. If you haven't done that yet, there's a tool that I can pop in here that we can link in the show notes that you can map your buyer's journey and use that tool and have really good conversations with your sales team on, what are the problems that we actually solve. So step one, map your buyer's journey. Step two, revisit that buyer's journey. So if you create an initial buyer's journey, you should revisit it in 6 months and ask yourself, what have we learned from executing content on this buyer's journey that we thought we knew? Because you're probably going to discover things that you didn't know about your buyer's journey while you're making content the first time that you can then add that makes you a better informed person about who your ideal buyer actually is. So you should be evaluating your buyer's journey, I say every 6 months, to ask the question, like, what's different about our buyer that wasn't the same before? Like, if things happen, like if you're in real estate and you're trying to sell houses right now, well, what's different about the market now than 6 months ago? What's changed the buyer's mindset that we now need to add to this buyer's journey? That's an extreme example, but you should be evaluating that buyer's journey to ask the question, what's changed about the buyer and what's changed about my knowledge of the buyer? That would be where I would start. Get to know your buyer's journey. And when you're having conversations with your salespeople, don't just accept like what they're saying at face value. You should dig deeper. If someone says like, oh, one of the problems that we solve for our customers is that they need a new roof. Okay, why do they need a new roof? What's causing them to believe they need a new roof? Was there a hailstorm that came through recently? Okay, hailstorm came through recently. That's very different than I need a new roof. It's hailstorm roof damage. Like, how do I evaluate that damage to see whether or not I need a replacement or just a repair? So I challenge your salespeople, because as content creators, we can think of these things this way, and we're very like trained and programmed to think about it this way. Salespeople are not. They can be trained and programmed to think about it this way, but they need your help to do that. So ask them as many follow-up questions as makes sense to get to the actual root cause of what someone's problem actually is. Those are the two things.
I love that. I think of the children's game Telephone, where you, like, one person says something and they say it to the next person, and we all know from playing that when you're a kid, the more people it goes through, the more it changes. So if a customer is expressing a problem, a challenge, or something to a salesperson, then the salesperson is saying it to you. As close as you can get to the source is the best you can hear it, and the most accurate you can hear it. And I love what you said about the hailstorms, about it, like the way that buyers put their own problems into their own words matters. And sometimes we can rephrase it to the way that we would say it, and we put kind of a marketing spin on it, and all of a sudden we're not actually talking in the language of our buyers, and then we're not resonating. And so I love that, talking to customers, talking to salespeople, watching sales calls, mapping your buyer's journey, understanding the problems that you solve. Because as you said, or I'll say it this way, people likely come to your solution with a lot of different problems, articulated a lot of different ways. The more you understand that, the more you're able to market to everyone who needs to buy what you have to sell. Lindsay, fascinating conversation as always. And we know that, as we were saying, that you're not going to know always how well this stuff resonates. It's important to experiment. It's important to gather data and to continually improve. Lindsay is a video trainer here at Impact. You can always reach out to her through our website, through LinkedIn. Schedule a call and speak with her or someone on our team on how we can help you make sense of video, because as we know, consumers are demanding it and you need to meet them where they are.
Yeah,
Lindsay,
please reach out to me. I had someone who watched one of our previous videos reach out to me on LinkedIn just to like say, I found this helpful. And even that feedback is super helpful to us as we put more videos like this together. So even if you want to reach out just to say like, this was awesome. Found this super helpful. This is how I'm using it. I want to hear those stories too. It's not just a like, what questions did you have? We want to know if like this is helpful for you too.
100%. Lizzie, thank you as always.
Thanks, John.